All right, now let's get into assessment. Now, with our RMF process, we have gotten to the stage where we want to talk about the assessment. Now, when we say assessment, what is assessment? Now, we say that after we have implemented our controls, we have put together our SSP, we have done all the artifacts and the documentation that we need. What else do we need to do? Now, there's a third party who needs to come and assess what you have done to make sure that, yes, we have implemented the controls right. You are one, assessing the controls to determine if the controls are implemented correctly and they are working effectively. And that is where we use our next 853A as a guide. Now, when we say assessment, what we are saying is that we are trying to evaluate the adequacy of the security controls that have been implemented. And now we give our recommendations on the ones that have not well been implemented. Now, when it gets to assessment, the first thing that you do as an assessor is that you have to develop your security assessment plan. Yes, your security assessment plan. Now, your security assessment plan is supposed to contain the methodology you're going to use to do your assessments. Who are you, the assessor, and the information about you, timelines that you need to do the assessments, the artifacts and evidences that you need, and the list of controls to be tested. Now, after you have done that, then that is where you go to do a presentation or what we call a kickoff meeting. Now, at your kickoff meeting, what you are doing is that you are letting them know that, hey, I am the assessor. This is the method I'm going to use. Now, this is the timelines I have. This is the artifacts I will need, the controls. Then you present it to the information security officer, the information security manager, the system owner, and various stakeholders who actually have stake in that system. Now, they need to agree to your assessment. Then after they have agreed to it, then you can go ahead and start the assessment, or they can go ahead and give you the authority to start the assessment. Majority of the time, that is where they will say, okay, no problem. They will also walk you around the environment, or they also tell you about the environment, let you know that, okay, if you need this, this is this person you can go to. If you need this, make sure you are getting into the ISO, and the ISO will be able to get all those things for you. And that is the security assessment. Now, after you have done that, the other artifact that you need, or when you are done with the assessment, you're going to produce is what we call your security assessment report. What is your security assessment report? Your security assessment report is a report that contains all your findings that you came up with during your assessment. It's supposed to have your findings, the control numbers, the control name, the weaknesses identified, the control that passed, the corrective action plan, the impact level, and the evidence that you requested. Now, after you have done your security assessment report, once again, you have to present it to the team. They have to assess it. And after they are done, they can let you know their feedback on the report, because you cannot submit a report to them without getting their feedback from it. We call it the management's assertion, or the management also responses to the findings that you came up with. Then another artifact that you need, we call it the security control assessment, the SCAR, or the test and evaluation, or the security test and evaluation, the STNE, or the traceability metrics. All of them are being called the same name. And I'm going to show you a copy of all these documentations when we get to the hands-on. What is happening here is that this security control assessment, or the SCAR, or the STNE, or the traceability metrics, is supposed to contain control that you assess. So first, we use the traceability metrics when we are doing the assessments, record everything in there. Then after, you come and do a report. So you use your traceability metrics as a guide, document everything that you are doing during the assessment. Then afterwards, you can go ahead, go to the security assessment report and submit the report that you have. But the security assessment, or the SCAR, or the traceability metrics, will be a document that you will embed into your security assessment report. So the CSTNE or the SCAR will be inside the security assessment report. Now, after you are done, the controls that failed, that is where you get to the poem and you put it inside your poem. We always say that your security assessment report contains both your pass and failed controls. Why? Because it already has a SCAR, or the test and evaluation, in there. You also have to develop the poem. The poem is a plan of action and milestone. And we're going to talk a lot about it when we get to the vulnerability. But the poem is a plan of action and milestone. It contains remediation and recommendations numbers, control name, the weaknesses identified, the impact level, the SLAs, the resources that is needed to be able to what? Remediate those findings that we came up with during the assessment. Remember, we used the NIST 853A to do the assessment.